it came down this pass and it just turned off. Okay, so hopefully I can make it through this and get out of here. Only things that would make it do that is if you lose spark, like if your coils for some reason went out. So the only thing that can do that on my machine is I have a ground wire over here that normally ties to the key. That's not contacting anything, and I've never had a case where they melted through or anything and made contact when run under the cowling. I could take that out completely, and I have on some machines. So it's probably not it receiving ground to the coils to ground out the spark, which normally is done by the key. So the next step is, and remember, I don't have the diagnostics to know if I've lost spark or fuel. The next thing is the battery still good? And that wouldn't make it just shut off like that, because these things are self-exciting stators. They're a permanent magnet and a armature rotating within it that picks up magnetic field. These are not the type of machines that would shut off if your battery went completely dead. So the next step is, and we know the battery is not dead because lights come on, fan. It still could be the battery management system, and that's one of the downfalls of running lithiums, is that they'll glitch out if they feel too much draw, too much heat from the engine, etc. But I don't think that's the case. It feels like it's pulling in strong, but we got just a small amount of energy there. We don't want to waste it doing diagnostics. So my first step has two purposes. One, it takes off the parasitic draw of things we don't need to get this machine out of here. We don't need the lights, and we don't need the hydraulic cooler fan. So let's eliminate that so we don't exhaust our battery before we've made the diagnosis here. To do that, I'm going to take the positive lead, because to take it off the battery, I don't have the Allen heads. So, but I can take it off my disconnect. And this wiring needs to be cleaned up. And I know that I've been needing to for a while. Yeah, I may have a little bit of a problem. Rudimentary tools. I had to hold here to break it loose. If you saw that. Now, on the fuel side, on my machines, let me bounce over to that. It could be the fuel pump, which runs off a vacuum, so I want to make sure that this line here that goes to the valve cover is not compromised or broken, because then the vacuum won't make the diaphragm pump. I want to make sure that the line itself is not losing suction. If I had a better filter here, I could verify that the filter is halfway full at least. They don't tend to be all the way full, so that's not a concern if that's the case. In worst case, I can pull this line, make sure I'm getting fuel. The tanks I run, they do have a cutoff valve down here. They're off of a generator, and so that would be a concern, is if I forgot and left it off, which I don't even really fool with. There is a vent here too. Sometimes if you forget and your vent is on, you can, as the weather and the draw could develop enough negative pressure through that where it loses fueling. Okay, so back to the electrical part. All right, the two things that we're finding out by taking this off, or one, we're eliminating the noise of the fan, because we want to see if we can hear the carburetor anti-backfire solenoid clicking on and off when we engage our battery. So let's see what's what. All right, this red is for the lighting circuit, and this blue, it needed to be shortened, so that needs cleaning up anyway. The longer the run with DC current, the more heat amperage total delivery of power you lose. So that should take off of the circuit, the fan. I don't want to lose all my battery, and I want to hear. And it takes off the light because I don't want to lose my battery. Let's tighten that up a bit. Don't have to be perfect. Just want to get it going out of here. Now, when I trip this, you should hear a click from the solenoid. I hear it clicking. Okay, and that's not good because I was hoping that's all it was. Sometimes you can wiggle a 2-pin connection. Now let's see, maybe by disconnecting, reconnecting, I've gained a connection that was lost because of oxidation or tightness of that. Let me try to start it here. So this here is connected to my starter solenoid. It's tethered to the choke. This here is connected to the battery. So when these two touch, the juice from the battery, the only reason this is that thick is because I want it to be stable and not touch that would be a dead short, that'd be a bad problem. So when this touches that, it transfers the voltage to the starter solenoid momentarily at the same time as it's choking, and that usually creates a start position, a start condition. We know something, and what I think I know is that it lost meaningful connection here, and when I took off those, then it regained it because the bolt drawing in scratches a new surface, blah blah blah. But don't be too confident, because one other thing that can happen is two other things. The coils can be deteriorated to where when they're hot, they kick out, they stop sparking. So that could have been, and still could be, a problem. And then the other is, the battery management system. In that, if this battery is getting to that point, it could be glitching out, and if it doesn't throw that 12 volts to that fuel solenoid, although that should stay open just from the continuousness of a permanent magnet pickup on the stator. So that may not be the case. I'd have to explore that a little bit more. I do know the lithium's caused me a lot of problems in my vehicles when I tried to, change to a lighter thing, and it was because of basically unpredictable behavior. You'd have to have, you get into circuit boards instead of something as simple as 12 volts, not 12 volts, a current flow path, and not a current flow path. Now you get into some of the voodoo that I don't like, that I can't see, like a Bobcat T190 that suddenly has electrical problems, and you got to have a $2,000 scan tool to fix it. And nobody wants to deal with the Bobcat T190 because they're a yesteryear machine. And usually the people who own it can't afford, I say this from experience, can't afford the shop fees for them. Okay, let's see if we got lights, fan, and still starts. Saved by a pair of pliers and just a simplified machine. So there's only a few things that can go wrong with these things, unless you got a whole bunch of voodoo in it, but the